Welcome, Paul. Thank you for being on time. We have 7 more minutes. We are already on some platforms, but this is pre-run. How are you doing?
Okay, good, good. I'm doing good, great, and you?
I cannot complain. Just old age.
Very important.
Yes, yes. So we're just gonna run through very fast through the whole stuff here. Okay. I'm just going to put the SkyDew number on so that those people who are joining who want to, when we start explaining and they want to test it out, they'll have the schedule number right here for them to test. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we have 4 minutes to start. So if you're just joining us live, we are basically just setting up. We have Mr. Paul Mbua already in the house, and we're just setting up to make sure that everything comes normal. Let me go ahead and share my screen now. Okay, I don't think I should share my screen right now, Mr. Paul. I think we should explain when people get the understanding, and then we can go ahead and share our screen just so that,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. All right, okay. Okay. We'll be joined by Paul from India very soon, and he just sent me a message. Okay, so I'm going to start the whole thing because we're 3 minutes away. All right. Okay, I think that it's about time for us to start the discussion full swing. And once more, I want to welcome Mr. Paul. Paul Mbua, welcome so much. I know you're a very busy person, and I'm even surprised that we're able to get you, to jump on the call to have this conversation about this innovation that we've created. um, so once more, I really want to appreciate you for coming. And for those of you watching us from LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you're watching us from, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. And we're going to be having a very good discussion with my very good friend here, Mr. Paul Mbua, my friend and mentor, I must say, Mr. Paul Mbua. And of course, one of the things that we'll be talking about really, really interestingly is the origin of the technology called SkyDew, why it came about, why it's here, what is the way forward with this technology. So, Mr. Paul, you have our full attention. Please let me know if there's any other thing. Like, let's just have you introduce yourself, and then we take it from there. Paul.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome. So I don't know if you can get me very well.
Yes,
Good.
perfectly.
Okay, so my name is Paul Mbo, and just being excited to be here. Very passionate about Africa, how we could use technology to really bridge the digital divide and provide opportunities for young people and prosperity for Africa in general. So passionate about technology, entrepreneurship, and have been working, in these sectors ever since, 20 plus years committed in seeing how, lives could be transformed through technology and entrepreneurship. So happy to be here.
It's a great pleasure to have you, Mr. Paul. It's a very huge pleasure. And like I said, it's always wonderful to have your input. Whenever we create something like this, we always come back to you because we know the value that you bring in. It's not just the value of saying, hey, you've created new technology. It's also the value of how do we penetrate the communities? How do we make sure that people get to, use the technology that we've created? Because without that use, it's basically, to be honest with you, useless. Without somebody using your technology, is not going to make any difference at all in the world. So that's what we're here today, and I will be starting to by discussing what SkyDew actually is and what it is not. It's very important for people to understand what this is and what it is not, because many people might misinterpret what we've created, might not fully get the idea behind it, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So first thing we're going to be talking about is what actually is SkyDew and why did we create it. So to fully understand SkyDew, we need to understand where it came from. And SkyDew is a brainchild of a struggle. So in 2017, for those of you who are from Cameroon or who know about the Cameroonian struggle of the Anglophone and the Francophone regions, there was an uprising in the English speaking side of the country, which is 20% of the country. I think about more than 8 million people living in that area or who speaks English. And so, because of the unrest, the government, in a bid to curb the unrest, decided to, implement blackout on the internet connectivity. And this was a huge problem in 2017. It lasted for 93 days. It's one of, still to today, one of the longest internet blackout by any government in the world. And when this happened, people like me, people like Paul Mbua, and people like Fomingia Felix, who is going to be joining us shortly, we all realized that with a click of a button, our lives could be ended. Someone like me had a cyber cafe, was running a cyber security company, depended 100%, not 80, not 60, but 100% on the availability of internet. So when internet was disconnected for 3 months, that was 3 months of complete struggle. That was 3 months of no food on the table. That was 3 months of not being able to pay rent. And it was a huge and huge difficult time. for us. I remember we had to take buses and drive to Douala just to check your email and drive back home. That was how bad it got. And when I talk about driving from Limbe to Douala, we're talking about sometimes a 2-hour drive, which in most cases also comes with the dangers of being involved in an accident, comes with the other expenses of fuel, a toll gate fees. All of these things were things that we were spending. So at that time, an idea came to my head, and I was like, why do we always have to drive from Limbe to Douala? Why can't we simply drive once to Douala, set up an infrastructure, drive back to Limbe, and then use that infrastructure by simply sending a text message, and that infrastructure is able to send back a reply by SMS. So this means that if I want to know the weather forecast for Limbe, I don't need to drive to Douala for 2 hours to go find out the weather forecast of Limbe and then drive back to Limbe to actually maybe not even meet the weather forecast. So the solution that came to my mind at the time was, okay, we're going to put a phone in Douala, connect that phone to the internet because Douala had internet, and then give that phone unlimited SMS bundle, then come back to Limbe and then text the word, what is the weather for Limbe? And then that text message goes to that phone in Douala, and then that phone in Douala is able to tell us, hey, the weather forecast. If that phone in Douala is able to send that information to the World Wide Web, the web will reply to that phone because that phone is online, and that phone will then pick up that message and then send it to us in 160 characters. And this, in most cases, looks like a very small thing to do, but at the time, it could mean life or death. To be honest, it could mean life or death. For example, imagine that you are in an offline region and your child is having some symptoms that you don't know, and there's no doctor close by. With internet, you could go online and find out, internet symptoms checkers, and you can know what to do at least while waiting for the doctor. But we didn't have that. So this is the origin. If you're coming live, if you're coming here, this is the origin of what we actually created. This is how it started in 2017. Well, that being said, we're going to now talk about how we implemented SkyDew for the artificial intelligence, how we implemented this technology for artificial intelligence. Because if we get that history, then it's now very easy for us to assimilate why such a solution was created. So I'm going to talk about first the problems that the modern artificial intelligence presents. Okay, I'm going to be talking about that. That's the first thing I'm going to do, to talk about the problems that the modern artificial intelligence platform present. So the modern artificial intelligence platform assume two things. I think even three, to be honest. It assumes that number one, you have the architecture for artificial intelligence. All right. It assumes you have the architecture for artificial intelligence. Now, this is a huge, huge assumption. For those of you who know what we're talking about, this kind of assumption is not only dangerous, it's deadly. Now, the reason why we are saying that this assumption is not only dangerous but deadly is because of the fact that it's not true. It's not true that people have access to the platforms, to the architecture. Number one, it assumes we have electricity. It assumes we have uninterrupted internet flow. It assumes that every single thing we're doing is done on a smart device. Now, why this sounds like a wonderful thing, it's not really a wonderful thing. And I'm going to tell a little bit more about why I say it's not a wonderful thing. Okay, so first thing we're going to be looking at is the infrastructure that is not even available. So number one, in Africa, we all know, not just in Africa, but in other many countries, um, electricity is not readily available. Okay, it's not readily available. And it's not just for Cameroon as a country. It's not just for the only 54 African states. It's also in the Americas, in Europe. Electricity is not 100% constant. Internet is not always 100% constant. And because of that, we have now created unknowingly a gap We've created a gap where we are keeping more than 75% of people are excluded from digital progress. All right. Now, these people are excluded for four main reasons. We have the first one is the fact that 580 million Africans currently are offline. They simply don't have the connection. Okay. So 580 million people simply don't have it. We're not talking about that they have it and it's not working. No, it doesn't exist. Number two, 42% of Africans have featured phones. All right, we're not talking about smartphones, they don't have smartphones. Number three, we have energy poverty in the continent. We are one of the most blessed continent in the world, but we have the energy problem. There's no need trying to sugarcoat it. We have the problem. The problem is glaring, is there, everybody knows is there. All right. And lastly, we have the infrastructure, which is fragile. So there's constant blackouts, there's constant internet outage. And because of this, we're saying we don't need to wait. We don't need to wait for someone to come say, oh, wait a minute, when Africa gets all of this, then you're going to enjoy the internet or you're going to enjoy artificial intelligence. When everybody does that, then you're going to enjoy. Now, I'm going to pose to you another problem that we do have in the African continent. The other problem that we do have is that every single telco can in a moment be switched off. Every telco we have in a moment can be switched off. And we say no to that. We do not want that. We are saying we don't want something like that to happen. So now the way SkyDew is organized or built, SkyDew is built as a mesh network. So this means every single person on this live right now, every single person on this live session can literally whip out your phone and say, I want my phone to be a hub. I want my phone to be a node. So that even if the mesh network, even if the telco goes off, we can use a LoRa mesh to send out artificial intelligence information across a continent. Yeah. So that's quite interesting there as well. Okay. So that being said, we're going to be looking at the next one, which talk about how SOT has been used to build the SkyDew network. So the SkyDew network runs on the SMS of Things protocol. The SMS of Things protocol is a protocol that I designed in 2017 and perfected it in 2018, and in 2019 had the patent issued to me. This protocol treats every incoming and outgoing SMS as a data packet. For those of us who are coming from, telecommunications, for those of us who are coming from the network infrastructure, we have Mr. Felix joining. We're going to add Mr. Felix so that we can have a good conversation. Thank you so much, Mr. Felix, for coming. We do appreciate, and we're going to continue. So the SkyDew network is built on the SOT platform, the SMS of Things platform. And the SMS of basically treats every SMS as a data packet. So if you send a data or you send an SMS to a SkyDew node, that SMS is treated as a packet. That packet can do a lot of things. So you can ask, what is the weather? You can ask what is happening. And of course, as we go through, you are going to be testing SkyDew today yourself. For those of you who are from Cameroon and MTN Cameroon, you're going to be testing SkyDew and enjoying the value of what SkyDew actually offers. I'm going to rush over the other ones since we have other speakers who have to join up. So how does SkyDew works? So one smartphone is the only thing that is needed to make SkyDew work. So once we have one smartphone, which is running the SkyDew mobile app, which converts that phone into a server, then millions of featured phones can to that smartphone as a network, and they can ask any questions they want directly. And the way it works is, let's take one featured phone and one smartphone trying to send out a message to SkyDew. What happens is the offline users send an SMS, which is treated as an SOT packet. The nearest online node then picks up that SMS, which is an SOT packet, and then once it picks that SMS up, it then sends that SMS to the appropriate the appropriate AI model, whether Gemini, Grok, Claude, Quen, whatever, and it uses a secure API bridge. Then, after that has happened, it picks up the reply again and then send it back by SMS to that offline phone. So, as long as that offline phone is concerned, it is completely working offline. Now, we have a 99% deliverability and zero latency. There is no wait time. Why and how did we do that? We did that by routing the SMS to the right node. So that means if the sender is on MTN to MTN Cameroon, it is an MTN Cameroon number that will reply. If they are on Nextel and sending that message to an MTN Cameroon node, that message will not reply. Okay. But if they send it to the right numbers, it will reply almost immediately. And that is what we've done to make sure that everything works here. And for the first time today, we're going to be talking about the security layer that we've done on SkyDew. So SkyDew is not a Cameroonian technology. SkyDew is not an African technology. SkyDew is a global technology where every single person anywhere in the world can use SkyDew to send in and request AI information. Now, for the first time as well today, we're going to be talking about the money making part of SkyDew. Yes, SkyDew has an inbuilt money making mechanism. So you can make money with SkyDew. You can literally whip out your phone right now and start making approximately, I don't want to be, fixed on it, but approximately you can make between 2,000 to 5,000 every single week on SkyDew. How? By using your phone number as a node. How do you use your phone number as a node? You register your phone number on the SkyDew network, your phone, sorry, on the SkyDew network. You turn your phone into a node, and when people pass messages or ask SkyDew for message, and SkyDew uses your phone to forward that message, then you make money automatically. Payout is by mobile money. We're still trying to make sure that we can do it by card. Okay, but right now you can do mobile money. What is the vision? The vision for SkyDew is to reach more than the 700 million African populations who are offline. Okay. And we are making it 100% immune to central blackout. So when the government gets mad next time and disconnect internet, they disconnect what they want to disconnect, we are still operational. All right. And the hardware is not some special hardware. It's what you're probably using to watch me now. Your mobile phone is the hardware for SkyDew. So this is the introduction of what SkyDew is, and we are going to be talking more about this as we move forward with the panel members like Paul Mbua, who is going to be telling us how to expand this into the other countries, and Felix is going to be coming up again to tell us more about that. So Felix just requested to join again. I'll do well to bring him up once I see that. So that is the introduction to what SkyDew actually does and how it actually works. And as we move forward, Paul Mbua is here to tell us a little bit more about what kind of impact a technology like this can have on the people of the African continent. So, Mr. Paul, I'm going to now call on you for you to basically introduce us to once more again who you are, what your organization does, and then we can move into the part where you talk about how SkyDew is built around the African user, that is the user on the ground, because we know from your background you are touching people in the ground in their language, and of course you meet them where they are and you offer this wonderful help that you've been doing. Mr. Paul, you have our attention, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Bruno, for the introduction. So, my name is Paul. Once again, founder and co-founder and CEO of ZigTech Hub. We're a Pan-African support organization. I always say we are based in Africa because we operate across Africa, and we're really passionate about offering, program design services, project implementation services. So, in the case of SkyView, I'd really focus on our work with multinational and multilateral organizations like the World Trade Organization, International Trade Organization, GIZ, and the rest, the other UN agencies, on really how do we bridge the digital divide in the local communities. So my first point would be, who is SkyDew built for? Um, One of the things we need to see within the African context is the fact that we have real economic and social challenges, right? While we're trying to participate in the digital economy. And when I talk about the digital economy, I'm being transversal to say digital transformation. Within our local communities, within our areas, we have young people that are trying to seek for income generating opportunities, how they could use digital platforms to make some earnings. Students that are also using low cost smartphones, limited data bundles, right, to access e-learning platforms. And we saw that also with our work, right, within the West region, where we saw mothers, micro entrepreneurs, women between the ages of 25 right up to 50. We had, one micro entrepreneur was the age of 65, and she really wanted to see how can I use, technology to improve my livelihoods, to improve my yields, to connect to other farmers, to build a value chain from that. Rural areas also, I think that's where we'll see lots of users between the rural areas and also the low income earners. So looking at the strata of of entrepreneurs, young people, elderly people, women we deal with, they have people that have just capable phones. We call them Chinese phones. The name now is Choronko. So in our projects, we have smartphones and Choronko. So those that use Choronko because they don't have the money to buy, or those that are just WhatsApp only. So I think that those are like users that we could harness. And I think one of the things about looking at SkyDew in terms of that direct community feedback, I think it was very important building a platform that tries to try to connect the disconnect within the African realities. When I talk about African realities, I'm talking about areas where we have no network. So for example, within a community in the West region, participants have to, for them to access the internet, they need to go to either the training center that will offer internet connection, or they'll have to go out of a specific geographic location for them to have access to connection. Next would be the cost, right? The cost to have access to these tools. We have Claude, we have all these AI tools. How could AI tools, how could they have access to it? So some sort of simplification of it. Because another thing we realized, I'll be drawing from my experiences, is a lot of data crowding. So you say, okay, go online and do research, and the AI, agent would give, more than 3 pages. So they'll be overwhelmed with information, crowded with information, not knowing specifically how to digest. Because in the rural areas, in the semi-rural areas, you really need to focus on bite-sized information. How do you structure information in such a way that it's easily understood and can be easily consumed? So using the SMS, character system helps a lot to stratify and simplify, the information, so it would not be too much, and it will just be what they need at a specific time. Definitely, real issues in terms of SMS is really the king when it has to do with rural communities in Africa in general. Why is SMS king? SMS is king because very internet fluctuation and things like that. People really just go to the reliability, right? Going to the foundation, which would be SMS. So building a system like this on that means that on SMS of things means that the vision is really focused. So if you have internet, good. In communities where you don't have internet, it's still very good. You could still communicate amongst each other. I don't know if I should go detailedly into application, but one of the things I've realized in terms of technologies like this, um, one of the things that in terms of local people, locals within the communities, right, they are looking for solutions you know that is so um, close to their realities, close to their understanding, which is SMS. Within our training, we had over 60% of these micro entrepreneurs. We trained over 600, so over 60% of them now are using a mobile phone or they're having a young. So one of the things we did was for those who could not actually read and write, they're using their sons as agents to help them to navigate this technology. So at the same time the mother is learning, at the same time the son is learning and also learning about their business. So grassroots participation, I think, is very important. So taking these solutions and trying to develop use cases from these communities. What would be an example? An example would be a mother wants to plant, but he doesn't know what input to use, right? And he goes on there and types, okay, what are the possible inputs to use, or how should I apply it? You know, so most of them just have more of homegrown knowledge and not really technical knowledge. So I think this helps now to bridge that divide between technical implementation, technical know-how, right, technical knowledge, and also their low-level um, technical skills. So it helps them now, not just for knowledge sharing. It helps them to better be efficient in managing their businesses. I'll give you an example. We did a training on financial management, right? They call it education financier. So how could they work on a budget if you want to plant? If you want to plant, for example, corn, what 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 dimension of the farm would make the farming more profitable, because they'll say, no, we are farming, we're doing this, but we're not actually seeing the money. So the AI now would help them to tell them, okay, if you want to boost your income by planting corn, you need to start, for example, in a hectare of farm. So that gives them an understanding. Okay, this is how you can design the farm, this is how, these are the new techniques, and definitely it helps them to move from persistence businesses to more sustainable businesses. So I don't know if I should go further, or there are people that have questions. One of the things also in terms of community use cases, right, that we
Mhm.
could look at how to actually use SkyDew would be in terms of youth skills development and learning. We have one of the things we try to implement within the communities. These people don't really have the time to come and sit for physical training, like 2 hours, 3 hours every day. They engage in a lot of things within the communities. 80% of them are farmers, doing one either agriculture, farming, processing, some form of transformation. So I
Right.
think we could use that in terms of boosting their skills. So for a young organization, you don't need to go with all the skills, because one of the things is learning by doing. So you could go, an organization will say, okay, we could use SkyDew as um, a post learning platform for our
Right.
training. So they go there with a short training and they say, okay, this week would want you to search on this specific thing, right? Then you guys share within the group. So as they're using the technology, they are learning at the same time. There's more peer-to-peer learning. So you're forming peer-to-peer learning communities at the same time. They are being trained at the same time. They're having access to the digital skills, at the
Yeah.
same time, they are improving themselves.
Wonderful. So that's like a huge, amount of influence that you have just put out there, where SkyDew can be used in these various sectors. I'll have some few questions for you, and I think we have some few questions on the various platforms. I see some few questions on Facebook. I've seen some on LinkedIn and some on YouTube and TikTok as well. So, but before we come to those questions, we're going to go to Mr. Felix. Mr. Felix will introduce himself, and after introducing himself and telling us exactly who he is, we need to know who he is, and he has a very good portfolio. But Mr. Felix, you'll be telling us after your introduction, why do you think, or how do you think, scaling SkyDew to 54 African states brings any kind of importance to the African people, Mr. Felix?
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Bruno. Can you confirm if you can hear me?
Clearly, 5 on 5.
Yes, okay, thank you so much. I'm really delighted to be here. I'm Felix Omengia. Before SkyDew, I used to do a lot in Cameroon, develop a couple of solutions. I'm also a cybersecurity expert, and currently now within the African Union, developing key solutions that address challenges within the Commission. I'm really delighted to be part of SkyDew, this wonderful innovation, and to be part of a team. And also, my regards to Mr. Paul. I'm just delighted to be within this initiative, which is done by amazing people. Mr. Paul is also one of my mentors, and yes, I must comment and appreciate his support for my career. Yes, so I will speak on expansion of these innovative solutions. So this is not just a product; it is an infrastructure which has to be planned like a continent, not a country. And also, this solution actually has a lot of potential. Africa has 54 countries with over 3,000 languages, with dozens of regulatory environments and multiple mobile money ecosystems. So a one-size deployment will fail. And SkyDew's strength is that it adapts to SMS. SMS, we all know that SMS works everywhere, be it in Nigeria, be it in Kigali, Dakar, or in Cameroon. This innovation is actually live across the 54 countries, and we also started to map or started to work on actually scaling these solutions on ground. For Anglophone West and Central Africa like Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, there's a lot which we are already doing, especially in Cameroon, and we also know that these countries or these areas have a large offline population, which indicates or emphasizes the need for the innovation of SkyDew. And we also have East Africa with countries like Kenya, Ethiopia, Uganda, Rwanda, um, and also East Africa, where we have countries like Rwanda, Ethiopia, Kenya, which are digitally progressing as compared to the other countries. Lastly, we'll also scale to francophone African countries like Mali, Senegal, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and also these countries have large offline population, which also indicates a high need for this solution. And also, in terms of positioning within Africa, within the African Union, I can speak from my experience as somebody who has been able to develop key solutions in the African context and within the African Union. And I can draw from this experience to say that is platform and innovation like SkyDew really has the potential in Africa. We understand how a solution like this, the need for a solution like this, and how it can actually scale within Africa. And also, SkyDew should be positioned alongside, for example, like the AU Agenda 2063, specifically the digital transformation, which is also one of the flagship of the African Union. And also, SkyDew enables economic participation for populations, in line, which is in line with works of AU organs like the AFCTA. So this also emphasizes the position of SkyDew within the African context at large. And in terms of the public sector and donor aligned partnerships, yes, of course, SkyDew, governments need SkyDew for last mile service delivery. I mean, agricultural alerts, like having a farmer, for example, to be able to engage with the platform and have rate time answers just from using this tool through SMS or through USD. We have seeking health advice. We're in a meeting today, and some of our audience were able to get health advice through the platform, and also civic information. So this platform is also for the public sector available to people in government, agriculture, health, civics, education, and also ministries of ICT across Africa. Of course, they can also make use of this solution, which is locally built to align with their national digital strategies. And in terms of donor aligned partnerships, yes, SkyDew will explore key and significant partnerships, including major international development agencies. So there's a lot which we are already doing in terms of securing partnerships with international development agencies and agencies across the world. And also the global picture. Why SkyDew is built for in the context of Africa, but imagine other places across the world like the Royal Southeast Asia, remote places in Latin America, conflict zones in the Middle East. I mean, this is a solution which has the potential of not only being used in Africa but also to be used in these areas which are also facing I mean conflict areas which also face limited connectivity issues. So we really have a huge potential, not just within Africa but across the world. It's a solution built for Africa, but having the potential um, to be used across the world. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Mr. Felix, thank you so much. It's always a huge pleasure for me to have you. And yes, for those of who don't know, we've been working on this. It's not a today thing. Felix can attest to that. We've been working on SkyDew for a very long time, both me and Felix, to and fro, having calls and up and down, just to make sure that it works the way we want it to work. And I'm going to hit Mr. Paul Mboa now with a little bit of a question, which, Mr. Paul, you can make it as brief as possible. Because one thing that people always come to me with SkyDew and they ask is, okay, good and fine. You guys have gone ahead and created this wonderful thing. Okay, good. Give me an example. Paul, here's a question for you. There's a farmer in a Kiliwindi. He has his Choronko phone, as you said. How is SkyDew important to somebody like this? Is there any importance of SkyDew to a farmer in a Kiliwindi, a remote area after Moyoka? For those of you who know about Cameroon, does that farmer need SkyDew? If yes, can you enlighten us about how that farmer can use it, please? Mr. Paul. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I think when a farmer already has access to a phone, I think that's the first step, right? One of the challenges in terms of farmers, right, is access to the right knowledge, access to information, access to appropriate content, right? And I think that's one thing that is very, very essential that would help the farmer in terms of improving yields. So the farmer would learn what are the new farming techniques, learn about the new diseases that are there, because one of the challenges farmers face is they all through their life they know maybe one or three pests and diseases that affect their health. But as time goes on, we have new mutations, right? How do they deal with them? So with that, would have access to information on terms of managing pests, maybe taking a picture or taking or describing how the color of the leaf looks like, and it gives them um, more information. It also helps them to improve on on the fertilizers. You have lots of these farmers that have their traditional way of producing their fertilizers. That would be a very great step in terms of, okay, what are the new techniques in learning um, development of organic fertilizers and things like that. So they would have more access to knowledge. Yeah, more access to
More
knowledge,
access to knowledge,
more community
more community
driven
driven
opportunities, right?
opportunities,
Learn
right?
to
To learn to
research
search
and
and,
grow
and
and
grow
grow
and
their business
grow their
venture.
business venture.
And when they have
And when they have
they already know,
they already know,
I'm getting
I'm
feedback.
getting feedback. Sorry
So
about
when they
that. So
have
when they have, I think it's from me. I'm going to
um,
be
a phone
phone
that's
that's
so which
so
means
which
that you
means that you
really
really
give them the
give
right
them the
access
right
to
access to
knowledge.
knowledge.
How could
How
they
could they
you know send their
send
produce
their
out of the market? There are a lot of things that in that ecosystem. And even, one of the things I think about is when you have one farmer that has a phone, that is already a community that you're building around. That farmer becomes like the lead of the other farmers. So he would be able to maybe, translate the content to local languages, use local vernaculars, local parlance to really, train the others. So it could be now this is a tool to the world for us to improve our livelihoods and improve our business.
wow. That was that was exactly like, this is why we say people who are actually in the field gets to give us the real gist. That's exactly what I envisaged. And one of the things that I want to mention while we're going through this discussion is you can absolutely use SkyDew right now if you're watching us from Cameroon. Right now, we've just set up a demo, a specific demo for Cameroon. If you're using MTN Cameroon and you're in Cameroon, you can text 651-293-668 with any of your question, and SkyDew will pick up and answer to you. This is the best way you can test SkyDew while we are still on the live. So yes, we have that already set up. So Paul, thank you so much for that wonderful question. We have just some few minutes, I think about 15 minutes to be together, and we call it a day. But before we run out of our time, let's move to Mr. Felix. And Mr. Felix, I just want to ask you a simple question. You have been at the top of the movement of the African Union. You have advised. You're doing strategic planning and all this stuff. Uh, can you speak to us about the limitation of AI models when it comes to African realities? For example, is every single AI that has been trained today trained in the way that it fully understands the African reality? And if not, how can someone speaking Swahili, someone speaking Amharic benefit from a program like SkyDew?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Bruno. So I think now this is where SkyDew stands out, because we can we can train this, just like you said. Imagine a farmer in Kenya that will only speak Swahili. You are able to train this yourself. And also at the level of Africa, there have been recommendations maybe for our own artificial intelligence platforms at this level. And now seeing that an innovation like SkyDew, which is not just an AI platform, but is decentralized, it's offline, it's off grid. I mean, it says it all. So I believe that this really fits in our African context. A local farmer in Ethiopia who can only speak Amharic is able to tailor this solution to that, and is able to carry on his daily activities as a farmer. The same for local farmers in Kenya, the same for people in Mali and across Africa. I think this is how SkyDew stands out. And just like I said, in the African context, I feel that this is really an innovation that can meet the needs, can meet the target market, and can serve the purpose that it was created.
Yes, absolutely. And if you're getting that pling on the background, that notification on the background, that's actually coming from questions that people are currently asking SkyDew right now. I will speak. I will do my best to show some of those questions here as we go forward. Of those questions people are asking SkyDew as well. So very quite interesting things that we have here implemented for the SkyDew reality. And thank you so much, Felix, for that example of a farmer in Ethiopia who speak only Amharic, understands it very well, but doesn't speak good English. He's still able, to talk to SkyDew. And also, one thing that we've done is, which I think you mentioned, Felix, is the fact that we are actively training SkyDew. So SkyDew is not just a one time, AI. It's there. You speak English or French, and that's the end of it. No, SkyDew learns from what people are texting. It's able to follow up on that. Felix, we had a meeting today, just some, I think, 2 hours back. It's not up to, I don't think it's even up to 2 hours back. Can you speak a little bit more about the speed at which the person that was testing SkyDew with us, can you speak a little bit about the speed at which he was getting his response from the platform? Did it take 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? How did
Think
that
I
happen?
was I mean the our guests were totally surprised. It was just like witchcraft to them. So they were really impressed. Once they send the inquiry, I mean, they already see from the back end which we were sharing, and then they could already have a response back to their phones. And also the responses were very precise. I mean, ChatGPT will give you a bulk of response. Thank you for your message. If you need help, this schedule is very precise, and it goes, for example, if you're asking for nearby hospitals, it's very precise to providing you that information. And also maybe a number that you can call the hospital, or a website. So this is really different, unlike maybe platforms like ChatGPT that will give you a whole chunk of data. SkyDew is very precise.
Yeah, and I wanted us to speak a little bit more about that. If you are here on the live and you want to ask SkyDew a question to know how advanced SkyDew is, please go a question that requires contact information. For example, you can ask, I'm not feeling quite well today. I live in Bonaberry. Can you tell me the nearest hospital and give me the contact? SkyDew is able to go on the internet, because a lot of people came online and say, "Oh, you guys just took out an offline AI. You branch it up, and it's offline. It doesn't have any, real life data." Felix, based on what we have, can you say this is offline data, or is this online data? Is it real time? What kind of data is this? Is it 6 months ago information, today information, or what is this?
Yes, I think it's real time, because I mean, from the test we had earlier with this organization in Cameroon, it was real time information and real up to date. Real up to date. Imagine asking information about pharmacies in Bonaberry or where to have dinner, and then it gives you it gives you very precise information of places which are actually existing. Yes, so I mean, SkyDew does a lot of filtering the data in the back end, and then provides to you the most appropriate and precise information. And back to your question, yes, the information is real time. So meaning that if a pharmacy was closed yesterday, it would not that would not be among your feedback which you'll be getting, because it's not real time, data. Thank you.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we have actually learned from Paul, we have about 9 minutes to go. One of the things that we've learned from Paul, based on our discussion with Paul Mboa has actually helped in developing a part of this artificial intelligence that makes the use of SkyDew easier. And this is what we had a discussion while I was going through with Paul. And Paul was like, hey, say for example, you are a farmer, like we use the example of farmer, and you type, my maize are having yellow leaves. I don't think they're going to do well. What do you think is the cause of this? SkyDew answers that question. And the assumption now is the farmer has to follow up by typing another question. So, based on our discussion with Paul, we came up with a very, very interesting solution. SkyDew is now able to say, type 1 for more information, press 2, just like a USSD. So instead of that farmer going to type the follow-up question, he can just simply press 1 on his keyboard and press go, which is the simplest way. It doesn't get simpler than that. So let me put this question to Paul. Paul, looking at the fact that we have a USSD-like menu and that this thing is 500 francs unlimited for 1 month, and this 500 francs is not you paying SkyDew. This is 500 francs for your normal data bundle, your normal SMS bundle. Do you think there is any technology, Paul, that can be cheaper and offer the same value to the people that you have been dealing with in the communities?
Of course not. Not even going to. So just take for example, these farmers have, they have their farmers group. They are coming together every Sunday meeting. So they could just put just 50 francs, right, to have unlimited, SMS for that specific day, to work. So I think it really, how will I call it? It's next to zero because no service offers this. So even at the level of the SMS, your SMS panel acts as a chatbot. So it's more of, you're talking with yourself to find more information. So I asked it in terms of organic farming. It gave me, various fertilizers, pesticide. Reply 1 for benefits, 2 for methods, 3 get started. So he told me about, okay, this is how you could do your composting, turn food waste into that, mix parts of dry leaves and one part of food waste. And this is already something that it's very easy for these farmers when they come together in their farming groups, in their community groups during their community day. They have a practical session to really try to chat, and train others. So I think in the area of being very cheap, it's very cheap, right? So which means that no farmer would complain to you that, oh, I'm out of data, because it searches the net and brings you, the data and brings you just the information you need. And if you need more follow-on information, you could give more commands, right? So I think it's really designed for the communities, designed for the rural communities, and I'm looking at the community aspect, because when they come together during their Sunday meetings, it will be an avenue for them to, oh, this is how you give commands, this is how you learn, this is the course. You don't need to go and put internet. Wherever you are, you could learn on the spot.
Wow. Wow. Yes. So that is as glaring as it could be. Paul is confirming with us that, yeah. And Paul, I like the fact that you were saying that when they have those their every Sundays, they could oh God, maybe they meet and you see this wonderful information was passed down to them, but hey, they forgot. I don't remember. And another thing that you have to understand that we have right now, as of today, on SkyDew, because SkyDew is being actively developed to make it better, is the fact that you can now ask SkyDew to do things for you on specific time. Let me explain. If you go now and use this number and say, "Hey, SkyDew, every day at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time in Douala, I want you to send me the following information: the weather forecast for the day, the price of cocoa in the world market for the day." Whatever you tell SkyDew can now automatically every single day, so that even when you run out of those, SMS bundles, which is possible, Paul, it's quite possible for someone to run out of an SMS bundle or maybe forgot to recharge. SkyDew can still work in the background without you having an SMS bundle, because you don't have an SMS bundle, but you can still receive SMS, can't you? The answer is yes. Now, Felix, looking at something like that, can you speak a little bit into how powerful such an automation is and give us one simple example of how it can be used in and across the African continent before we call it a day? We have 4 minutes to go. Felix.
Yes. Thank you for that question. Yes, I think. I mean, also just like I said earlier, SkyDew is well positioned uh, for 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 the using uh, is it sending an SMS or is it sending a request to the specific number and just sitting back to get the specific response. And also, just like I said earlier during my presentation, if you send a text to let's say an AI like ChatGPT or maybe Google Gemini, for example, you get a lot of chunk of information. But SkyDew is really precise. You just have to send that request. You just have to send that text, and you sit back for a precise information as per your request.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Felix. Mr. Paul, I once more I want to say I think I'm the most blessed person right now in Cameroon, because these two people, to get them, on a panel to sit down for 1 hour is a nightmare. It's not easy to organize it, but I want to appreciate you guys that when I called, you guys were like, "No, we need to educate people about this." And for those of you who are skeptical, this thing does not work, it's not available in this country. SkyDew is fast expanding, and here is why SkyDew is expanding very fast. SkyDew requires only one Android phone, one Android, not even an iPhone. Okay, you have an iPhone, good and fine, but SkyDew requires only one Android phone from one person to serve an entire country. So you can imagine that one Android phone is acting as a server. And those of you who are currently testing it, I can see a lot of questions coming in and out into SkyDew. This actually is working. This actually is there for you to use. It's a technology that we have to spread it. We have created it, good and fine, but we have to spread it as a people. So we're calling on everybody who wants to know more about SkyDew to go to skydew.org. All right. Skydew.org has this wonderful website. You're going to check it out. We have many other things there, and we have the opportunity for you to join as a business. So if you want to use SkyDew for your business, okay, so you want that AI to use your business intelligence, it's also possible. Just get in touch with us, and we are going to make sure that this works for your business. But if you don't want it for your business and you want it to work, you just want to use SkyDew, for those in Cameroon, this is the number. We will be sharing, we are compiling all the numbers and putting them up on the SkyDew website so that people can have those numbers, because that's the only point of information you need. Just like you need a domain name to visit facebook.com or google.com, the only thing you need to use SkyDew is the phone number of your country. So any last word from Mr. Paul? And then from Mr. Paul, we're going to move to last word from Mr. Felix, and then we'll call it a day. Mr. Paul.
I think if we're really thinking about bridging the digital divide, I would say if you have a project, you have an organization that you're working with young people across Africa, this is, a practical application for you. So I'd really encourage you to use it. It's cost effective. It's also community centric. So I'd really encourage everybody use it, because this is our community platform, right? We had challenges using go to the communities, using platforms that are developed by those outside. So this is a homegrown solution designed for Africans by Africa. So I'd encourage everybody to test it out. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Paul. Felix, let's get a last word from you and then we call it a day, Mr. Felix.
Yes, I think all has been said. The innovation is here, SkyDew is here. So now it's our turn to make the most of this innovation. A solution tailored for our activities, for our businesses, our day-to-day activities. Yes, the solution is here, and now it's our turn to make use of it. Thank you.
Absolutely. A last word from me will be, guys, I want to thank every single one of you for being here. I want to thank you for your support. Felix, you have helped tremendously in securing this application. You are still helping in making sure that this application follows the African Union plans for 2063. I don't know if I'm calling the right word, or it's 2036. I don't really know. And you're making sure that we stay in compliance with all of the things that the AU have put in place. Paul is here to. Paul has been supporting SkyDew all the way from its inception. When I say inception, I mean 2017. So if you're thinking this is 2-3 months ago, no. 2017, Paul offered his office when I had no office. Say, hey, Bruno, you can come work here. You don't have a place to work, but here's my place, is open for you. And he's been supporting ever since. And guys, we were supposed to have Tata Derek. Unfortunately, Tata Derek, who is doing the cybersecurity part of it, didn't have the opportunity at the time. And it's funny because he's the only one who didn't show up. But thank you, Felix. Thank you, Paul, for coming here. Derek is also very busy, so please don't hold anything against him. Hopefully, in the next one, when we are talking about how to implement SkyDew into your specific business, we will be able to have Derek. So thank you so much, Felix. Thank you, Mr. Paul. Have a good one. See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.